Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Our Community with Whitney Prather. Learn about what's happening in Stark and Tuscarawas counties and the surrounding areas. We're going to highlight interesting people, businesses, organizations, churches, events, and even more. Stay tuned. The talk with my next guest, Amanda Anshutz, gave me a little jolt in the best way possible. I really enjoyed gaining insight from Amanda about her customer population. She is the co-founder and president of Compassion Delivered, and their mission is really simple but impactful, and it's providing nutritional meals to people who are coping with life-threatening or terminal illnesses in our community at no cost. You understand why it's given me a jolt here. She is definitely being the hands and feet of Jesus, and I love talking to her, hearing her heart. Her and her husband co-founded this organization in 2017. Let's jump into our conversation now. Hey, today we're talking to Amanda Anshutz. Amanda, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am so good. I really appreciate you being on the show today. I'm excited to learn more about you and Compassion Delivered. I would love for you to tell me a little bit more about the mission of Compassion Delivered.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me this morning and allowing me the opportunity to share about our organization. And so Compassion Delivered, we are going to be 4 years old in January, which just doesn't seem possible that we're coming up on that milestone. And so that's kind of exciting to be able to celebrate that. But Compassion Delivered started 4 years ago, really in the month of November. My husband and I started having a conversation because I was donating to a nonprofit in another state because my cousin worked for them. And he kind of just asked me, what does this organization do? And I said, I'm not really sure. I just support because my cousin works for them. And he, of course, needed me to find out some more information about that. So I found out that this organization provided healthy meals to people that were sick in their metropolitan area. And so we came back to Stark County and just started, talking about getting involved with a nonprofit that did this, that provided healthy meals to somebody who had life-threatening or terminal illnesses. And what we found was there wasn't a specific organization that helped this specific group of individuals. And so after meeting with different nonprofits and the hospitals and other, people in our community that are on this part of, health and wellness and nutrition and medical care, we really found that this is something that our community could benefit from. And so with a lot of prayer and a lot of conversation, we decided to step out and do this for our community. And so we have been doing this since January of 2017, and it has been such a blessing.
Wow. Talk about blessing. I agree with you. I actually had the pleasure of attending your annual event of 2019. And I attended to kind of learn a little bit more about you guys and what you did. And I was just awestricken with all of the stories, all of the people that I actually knew who were supporting the organization, and just their firsthand, I guess, testimonials about the impact the organization had made in this community. One of the ladies, in fact, attended church with me, and I didn't know this because I've lost touch with her, that her husband was actually one of the recipients. And she was actually able to share her husband, or her and her son actually attended. Her son was actually in my wedding.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it just was a really, really cool, a cool situation to hear how this organization had touched their family.
That's awesome. I know exactly who you're talking about. And, one of the things that we say at Compassion Delivered is that, everybody that comes to us begins as strangers, because there will probably be no other time in my life that I would get an opportunity to know them. But through this process, they become family. And to date, we have 167 new families that have been a part of our lives, a part of Daniel and I and our volunteers and our board. And what a blessing it is, because when somebody finds out that they have a terminal or life-threatening illness. And I want to be very clear what that really means. That is, any type of cancer, that is any kind of, Parkinson's, ALS, end-stage renal failure, kidney disease, COPD, those kind of illnesses, diseases that, really when you find out that you've been diagnosed with this, the world continues to go on, but your world really does stop, because you start to think of, how am I going to continue to work? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to just take care of the necessities? And there's a million questions that begin to happen in that beginning stages, and you feel alone, and as much as we all want to say we're super strong and we could get through anything, that's not really true. Like we put up a good front a lot of times, but in the inside, when everybody else goes away and we're by ourselves, we really do struggle to feel like we are, we have that support. And so, with Compassion Delivered, we come alongside those families, we come alongside the individuals, and we let them know, like, hey, let us worry about the food. Let us take care of that. And you focus on your health. You focus on time. You focus on memories that you need to make with your family and loved ones, because that's what really does matter. Food is important. Food is medicine. The food that you do eat during your illness is extremely important. I mean, we all know that whenever we were sick, and mom or dad or grandma and grandpa would bring us chicken noodle soup, like that would make us feel warm and feel better, like just to get over what we had. That's kind of the same concept. We do it on a much bigger scale, but we want these families to know that they have a partner, they have somebody that's going to walk beside them through this. And the family you're talking about, I absolutely adore and cherish, and they have become such sweet family to us, even after her husband passed away. And so I am just so grateful to the opportunity to get to know them. I'm sad for the reason that I have to know them, but I'm so grateful for what comes out of that. And we are just truly blessed. We felt that we would start and be a blessing to them, but honestly, all these families have been a blessing to us.
I want to know more about the services, or what the menus kind of look like. So, is this 3 times a day? Do you elect only lunch, dinner? What does that look like? And then also, can you walk me through an example of a menu?
Sure, absolutely. So, typically when somebody comes to us, we don't have a menu that they choose from. So, and I want to back up one step and say that I don't do any of the food. So, my husband, Daniel, is the one who takes care of all the food. He is an executive chef locally at a country club, but has been in the food industry, culinary trained chef for over 20 years. And so his knowledge, his background, really his passion to take the skills that he has and pass them on is why this organization is what it is today. So he's the guy that is behind the scenes in the kitchen with the volunteers making the meals every week. And so he's the one that comes up with the menu. And we work with a dietitian to make sure that we do, meet the restrictions that may be out there. Understanding, like, if somebody's taking a certain medication, there are fruits and vegetables that would, go against maybe what they're taking, especially if it's like beta carotene, things like that. So we want to be mindful, but there isn't a menu that they choose from. So we basically tell them that they need to just have an open mind, because we're going to have them try a bunch of things that maybe they've never had before, but I promise them that they're going to enjoy it. So typical meal is a protein, a vegetable, and a starch, and we call it healthy comfort foods. So you could be doing like chipotle chicken breast. You could be doing like a cauliflower rice, or some sort of healthy carbs. There are healthy carbs out there, and then of course vegetables, and that could be, besides broccoli and peas and carrots that we normally see, we could look at Brussels sprouts and eggplant and things that maybe people aren't so quick to pull off the shelf in the grocery store and try, but I promise once they've been made by somebody who knows what they're doing, it's a different story. So we take care of the primary main course, I should say, and they get 3 of the meals, and each one has 2 to 3 servings in each one. So, because one of the things I want to back up and kind of share too is that the people we're serving aren't going to typically eat meals like you and I would eat on a regular basis, because their appetites are usually not anywhere close to what our appetites are on a regular basis. So they're not eating full meals. They might be eating a small portion of something we give them and saving the rest of it later. So all of our meals are frozen so that they can take out what they want and enjoy it when they want to. So we're not having any food waste, and they're enjoying it when they feel like they want to eat. The other things that we also add into it are homemade soups. So, like chicken noodle soup and broccoli cheddar and loaded baked potato, all of those things are homemade, but they also have those as well. So they get anywhere between 2 to 3 16 to 32-ounce containers to have as they want to. Sadly, as somebody does progress their illness, if they're not getting better, soup really becomes the most staple part of their meal, because that's the only thing that a lot of times they can actually handle. So we kind of say this, that the meals are intended for the actual meal recipient, but if there's caretakers or family there that are also taking care of them, they can also partake in those meals as well if that's needed. We have been blessed by other nonprofits and organizations around our community to receive produce and dairy and vegetables and fruit and items like that we can pass on, bread items. And so we do that from time to time. We might get them bread or maybe a dessert sometimes. We get donations of cookies and we get donations of dairy items. And so we kind of help fill in the gap, because a lot of times when somebody is going through this, it could be a year or two that they've been going through this. Typical staples like bread, eggs, milk they're not able to afford them. So we want to be able to make sure that they can still have the staple items that they need for themselves or for their family or whoever else is taking care of them as well.
Nice. Can you tell me a little bit about the operations? How does this run? You and your husband are running it, but are there other people who help you in terms of volunteer and then also board?
Sure. So we were the first two, of course, because we started it in our home. And then about a year after that, we moved to a church kitchen. And at that point, we realized we couldn't do it by ourselves. In the beginning, it was Daniel only making meals and myself only delivering meals and doing the operations. But we would get burned out really quickly if we kept doing it on our own. So in 2018, we welcomed our first group of volunteers. And now to date, we have over 40 volunteers that sporadically help us on a regular basis. And unfortunately, due to COVID and where we're at, we've had to decrease the amount of volunteers we can have in our kitchen. So we went from having 8 to 10 down to 4, maybe 5 from time to time. So, that has been kind of hard this year to have to pull that back. But we have a great group of volunteers in our kitchen and a great group of volunteers that deliver meals for us every Friday. They really are such a blessing. Friday group, they're the hands and feet that actually go out and deliver the meals and get to interact with the meal recipients and, give feedback and help us understand, what challenges the meal recipients are facing, or celebrate when they get good news, and also kind of share with us when things aren't going so well. So I absolutely love our volunteers so much. We have a volunteer coordinator. She and her husband have volunteered with us for about 2.5 years. Jill and Charlie Miller, they're just fantastic. Absolutely love them to death. And Jill is she's the one that handles all the volunteers for Friday and all the kind of coordinating with our meal recipients and our volunteers. So super blessed to have her a part of this. A lot of this is volunteer based, so there isn't necessarily paid positions at the moment, but we're getting there. So we hope that will happen in the near future. But so we have a lot of different people that come in and do different things for us. Besides the people that help in our kitchen on Monday and deliver meals on Friday, I want to also include all the school systems and all the family groups that write encouragement cards and decorate bags for us. Those are volunteers too, because I'm not very creative and I can't sit around and decorate bags all day. So it's such a blessing to have them step in and do that for us as well. And then finally, our board of directors, who are just amazing. We have 11 board members, and I'm sad because in December we transition out a lot of board members who have been with us since the very beginning, and it's kind of a sad transition because it's kind of like we're growing up, we're moving on, not moving on, but we're moving up because they're going to be done with their board terms. But I'm super excited for what the new board is going to bring for us next year. So board members are great. They're all just, they're friends, they're community leaders, they're people who invest in what we're doing. And we're just super grateful for what they've brought to our organization.
Nowhere to go but up from here is what I'll say to that, in terms of feeling a little blue about the transition. Transitions happen, and I know that the organization is just going to be in such good hands. I'm so impressed by your commitment to the demographic that you serve. You mentioned very, very briefly that the virus or the pandemic has impacted your organization. I want to know a little bit more about that, and then what's ahead for you guys in 2021.
Sure. So, all of us can say what a challenging year this has been, and for the first time in our entire life, we can all say that we're going through it together because, we wouldn't have known this last year that this is what was going to be happening. When March hit and things began to shut down, we knew that we were essential, and we did not have room to shut down because the people that we're serving are the most vulnerable. They are the most isolated, and we didn't want them to feel even more vulnerable and isolated than they already feel. So we kind of rallied the troops in March and just kind of said, okay, like, what are we going to do to continue to stay afloat? As most nonprofits right now are noticing decrease in donations, how are we going to kind of continue to stay, just stay the course, I guess. And so we did a couple of different things, like blessing boxes in the beginning. That was to help to get meal recipients as what they needed since they couldn't go to the store. Basically March, April, and May was really hard for them to even get out of their house. So we just did a lot of different donations on top of what we were already doing, doubling up on meals, on soup, whatever we needed to do, we stayed the course with them. And so, we have not closed our doors. We have not taken a pause. We have continued, and we are busier than we've ever been. And we're seeing more applications than we've had in the last 4 years. And that's good news, but it's also not good news, because in a way that just means that the illnesses and diseases are they're nonstop. It's just continuous. And so, this coming year, we are on target to serve over 10,000 meals since we've started. We celebrated 8,000 in October, 8,000 meals that we've given for free. And so next year, we'll surpass 10,000 meals that have been given by far. We might even hit close to 12,000, depending on how the year goes. So, that's a really crazy number for me to just think about, but it also means what a blessing it is to be a part of people's lives in the near future. The other side of it, I will kind of touch on, is because, we do celebrate victories that our meal recipients have. And we've had many victories over the last 4 years where people have received good news that their illness or disease is no longer, the worst. They're coming out, they're going into remission, and we just absolutely celebrate that. And we're so grateful, just so grateful when that happens. But we also have a lot of loss, on the flip side. And this year has just been a really hard year because of loss. And we're seeing that more and more. And we really try to do our very best to be as encouraging as we possibly can. And I just want to kind of give that word of encouragement that, every moment we're given is such a blessing, and take with it, do with it all that you can to be the best that you can be for yourself, for your family, for your neighbors, because we need each other, so we just need each other. And this year has just shown that, through what we're doing with Compassion Delivered. Just absolutely love these families, just absolutely love that we can be there with them, but we want them to know that they are not alone, that they don't go this alone, and that we are in this literally together. And so, what a year it's been. But we're excited for 2021. We're taking it day by day. We've been grateful for the donors who have given financially to us, who have given their resources, their time, their talents to us to continue our service here in Stark County. Our goal next year is to continue to grow, of course, if that's what God's plan is for us. And I believe it is. And just continue to help more people and get more people involved volunteering, get more people involved with our bags and cards or whatever it might be, but just continue to help as many people as we possibly can here in Stark County.
Amanda, it sounds like you know a lot about God's faithfulness. And I feel like even without saying that, it's been said in some of the responses and the comments that you've had to some of the questions I've posed to you. But I'm
Mhm.
curious about what other lessons you have learned by this compassion delivered endeavor.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Whitney, the thing about this is that this is literally, um, Compassion Delivered is literally God's organization. He's the one that placed us on our heart, and He's the one who gave us the direction. And there's been times this year that I've just said, Lord, is this really what you want us to continue to do? And He has shown us in big ways, like, yes, this is where you need to be, and this is kingdom work to us. And so, God has provided, through financially when we have kind of said, hey, we're not sure how we're going to pay for this freezer, and a couple of days later a check shows up in the mail for the exact amount. That's God. And there's been times where we have not had enough volunteers to deliver on a Friday, and somebody out of the blue Friday morning texts and says, hey, I'm available if you need me today. That's God. Like, it's just, He continuously provides, and He provides even through the conversations we get to have with our meal recipients. And it's, when I said earlier, like, we thought we would be a blessing to them, they've been a blessing to us. I can't imagine doing anything else in my life than this. I really can't, and I look back on my life and I look back on my careers and think, like, all of those moments, He prepared me for this time, and He has prepared me for what is to come, whatever that might be. I mean, none of us can say we know what the future holds, because look at 2020, and so everything we had planned for the year was thrown out the windows. So, but it's been a privilege and an honor to do this with these families, but even more so, what it has meant for my husband and I to do this together, and how God has brought us together to do this. I just think, like, not with getting too detailed about it. For us to come together 8 years ago and to have a conversation about life and about what God has given us as gifts, and Him to say, someday maybe I can help somebody, who is sick because of how I know how to cook food. And then, we date, we get married, we have our life, we're just doing life as we normally would. And for us to just have a conversation, and literally out of a conversation, Compassion Delivered is born. And we give it all to the Lord. We really do. This year we had to move kitchens during the pandemic, which was insane. But through it all, we had peace, and God orchestrated where we are currently, and it's been amazing. They've been a blessing to us, and we're just excited. We're excited to see what He has in store for Compassion Delivered, for the families that are going to come to us, for the people that are going to be involved with us. It's going to be exciting. So
I'm excited. I appreciate your testimony and the heart that you and your husband have shared with the community. The thing that's coming to mind is that, we're just vessels for the Lord to be able to use. And I am really inspired by the way that you guys have devoted your life to this mission. I want to know, finally, where we can find you guys at online. Yeah, tell us that.
yeah. So you can find us. Our website is www.compassiondelivered.org. Our website's going to have as much information about volunteering and getting involved, but you'll find the most information, the day-to-day operations, on Facebook, which is Compassion Delivered, or Instagram, Compassion Delivered. And those are the three main places to find us. We're always happy to have the conversation. If somebody does know somebody, they themselves need meals. I want to stress too that our program is free. And so it's important to know that there isn't any red tape that they need to jump through. You just need to call, and there's a small application that's completed. But if you or somebody you know needs these meals, by no means, like, please call, please call, because we want to be there to help. So, and our number at Compassion Delivered is 330-575-0996.
Wonderful. And you're also receiving volunteers, donors as well.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to volunteer with your family, if you want to do bags or cards or come in the kitchen or deliver meals, absolutely. You do need to be 18 years or older in the kitchen or deliver meals, unless you're with a chaperone. That's fine too. But we welcome everybody to just try us out, come and hear our story and see what we're doing in the community. I promise it'll be a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Compassion Delivered, everyone. Amanda, such a pleasure to speak with you, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do in 2021.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to our guest today, and thank you for tuning in. Cheers. Until next time.